Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Black AF, Widows and Orphans, Issue 1. I was drawn to this one by the cover. I didn't realize this was a sequel to the Black miniseries from Black Mask, but here we are. So this is written by Kwanzaa Osajefo, I think I pronounced that right, sorry if I didn't, and Tim Smith 3. They did story and plots. Then script and dialogue by Kwanzaa Osajefo, pencils and inks by Tim Smith 3. It's actually the number 3, not the Roman numerals, so I don't know if it's the third or if this is like some stage name thing. Derwin Roberson did colors and shades. David Sharp, letters and special effects. Sarah Litt did edits and patience. Okay. Matt Pizzola, publisher and promoter. Now, if I understand the Black universe correctly, only Black people are capable of having superpowers. So it's apparently caused by some kind of quark, literally a quark, in that combines with their genome to make it some kind of chimera genome. We've got the first empowered senator who looks vaguely like Al Sharpton, making like weird little butterfly things with his hands, or lights or something. And there's some guy working security, and then another character named Hoodrat. Wow, yeah, that happened. Who speaks in Arabic or Farsi maybe, occasionally. They sniff out a ninja flying in on a kite. Yeah, literally a ninja on a kite. It's okay, looks like some kind of midget. So the ninja, who vaguely reminds me of Shredder, attacks and sends some arrows raining down, but this guy in a suit deflects them all with mad ninja skills, and Hoodrat goes after him. Some other guy shows up out of nowhere, and there's not a lot of talking during the chase and combat sequence, which goes on for a little longer than it probably should have. And then this Hoodrat character jumps out and throws some look like saw blades maybe? I don't know. Then he's knocked down, and then this unknown character wraps him up in like a cocoon or webbing, and they find it out that it's an old guy, and it's actually somebody that aged very quickly. Then we have a flashback to kids getting a tattoo that they saw on the old guy, and apparently this ninja clan was selling them as like slaves or something after training them to be ninjas, and they are called the Amimi, which looks too much like anime, and I kept reading it as anime, so they all belong to the anime. So then we get some gibberish, and then some leader guy who I don't think is even named saying, take Hoodrat with you, your secrets are safe. I didn't even know this character's name until around this time, and I'm like halfway through the book. And then apparently this guy's been training Hoodrat, who's a Muslim and was praying. So you have a Muslim rat? Yeah, that doesn't strike me as being a little insulting to the Muslims, maybe. Then they walk through a doorway and suddenly they're in Japan. I don't know how that happens. Then they dress in outlandish clothes, and they mention something about World War II, U.S. internment, and blacks being a small part of the population. So there's been no incidents to incite the public. I don't know what those three things have to do with each other at all. No idea. It's not explained. There's a large lack of explaining things. They don't even really explain that only black people have superpowers. I only know that because I read the blurb on the miniseries, because I actually bought the miniseries and I just haven't read it yet. I only read this because I didn't realize it was connected to that until I got past the cover. So then they're sitting in a bar, and the guy puts looks like a token or something down. It's not Japanese money. I don't know what that is. And then suddenly they're allowed to go through a door past some gigantic Asian guys, like literally giants. And then they have an entire page of them walking through different dance halls before getting to some old lady who says it's been a long time, Kurokumo, and then suddenly there's a Japanese lady there. It doesn't show them going through any doors, just suddenly there's this Asian girl there with really big boobs, and the guy throws some photos, and then there's some like one line of dialogue, and suddenly some giant guy attacks out of nowhere. Where he came from, where he was hiding, that's a mystery, and it's best not to ask questions. There's another long drawn out fight scene, and I mean a long drawn out fight scene. Then there's a fire, and then they they leave. The Japanese lady says that they no longer traffic in small black children that are trained as ninjas. Now the Russians do it. And the Russians are read by somebody, and I'm serious here, the Red Fedora. So if you think this sounds like some kind of weird 70s kung fu movie, no, it's worse than that. I don't even know how to describe this. This is just terrible. I didn't know who any of these people were. I didn't care about any of them. There's no character development at all, and the art is atrocious. The plot is very, very thin. Like, they obviously have an idea in their head about what they want to do, but they're trying to wedge too much into one issue. Like, the whole assassination plot thing was fine because it was one long drawn out action scene, but they didn't really fill you in on this kid is part, or this guy, Kurikomo or whatever his name is. It doesn't really fill you in that he is the kid they're showing in the flashback of the ninjas. It's something you obviously have to infer and that you can infer, but it's not explained and there's not enough depth to it. If they had focused on that and maybe done a lead in and then ended the issue there, that would be fine before going to Japan and then go to Japan in the next issue. But yeah, this made very, very minimal to zero sense. I don't know who any of the characters are. They only say, I think, 2 of their names, maybe 3. And like their leader guy, I only know he's the leader because he's mentioned in the other book in one of the things I saw on him. I don't know where this giant robot like looking guy is. He's obviously flesh because they cut him, but he's a big armored dude and he's like massive, so I don't know where he came from. It's not explained. He just shows up. They don't show them going through places. It's very confusing. So I would have to say that this is just a big old mess. I'm not interested in reading any more issues. The cover quality is really nice though. Marvel should take note. And the paper quality is really good. I'll give them that. The colors are vibrant and the letterer did a fine job. So I had no problem like following along with the dialogue. It just doesn't make linear sense. And they're trying to do these little bits like where they do the same weird walk through all these panels on the dance floors. It's just silly. So the jokes weren't funny. It's too much wedged in one issue that should have been drawn out. And I didn't really care for the art style at all. I thought it was very amateur hour. It's not even stylistic in my opinion. I think it's just bad art. But I don't know. Maybe the artist is capable of more. I'd have to look at some of the other work that this person's done. But as of right now, I can't recommend this. I think it's a little bit too much of a mess. Too many ideas jammed into one issue that should have been thought out and elaborated on a little more. Give us some introduction to the characters. I have no connection with these characters whatsoever. I didn't feel like they were well thought out. They're just cardboard cutout action characters that have no backstory as far as I could tell. It looks like the guy does have a backstory. They're just not really telling it to us. And we should be able to empathize with the character, not just, hey, he's black and that's all you need to know. No, I need to know a little bit more about the guy. Why is this so important to him that they had this symbol, etc. So I think it needs a lot more elaboration that probably should have been done by editorial, telling them, hey, you need to dial back and focus on just half of this issue and put the other half in another issue, and it would have worked fine. So yeah, I would skip this one. It could have been a much worse issue. I do think it's incredibly racist that there's only black people have superpowers. That's some real race baiting stuff. I don't know, did the Klan write this? But it's definitely a mature title. This is not a kid's book due to the violence level. I would avoid this on several levels, but that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next one.